Hi, this is Sharona Halickman, and I will be speaking about Parshat Yitro. I've been to many different types of weddings. I've been to a Hasidic wedding in Brooklyn. I've been to an Israeli wedding, Sephardic wedding, performed by Rabbi very similar fashion. And what's similar about all of these weddings is that they transcend space and time, and they are very powerful experience. There's a special tone that is set. There's spiritual preparation beforehand by the bride and groom. And there's a specific atmosphere which shows the love and commitment of the Chatan and the Kala. And a wedding experience can also bring us closer to Ma'amad Har Sinai, to the revelation at Mount Sinai. And there are similarities between the wedding ceremony and the love between God and the Jewish people, which we see at Ma'amad Har Sinai, at the revelation at Mount Sinai. And in Shir HaShirim, in the Song of Songs, we see this, which is really a story of the love between God and the Jewish people, as well as a story of the love between a man and a woman. Now, on the day of the wedding, the bride and groom prepare themselves. The bride, sometimes the groom, goes to the mikvah. They often fast to stay away from the physical and focus on the spiritual as they prepare for their day. And there's the chuppah, and there's the guests, and there's the bridesmaids, and the ushers, and their instruments, and songs, and music. And the bride and the groom are nervous, and there's the ketubah, which the bride accepts, which the groom shows his commitment in the ketubah, and the bride accepts that commitment. And then there's the ring, which shows the endless bond between the man and the woman. And Ma'amad Har Sinai, the revelation of Sinai, is very similar. Right there too, Bnei Israel, it says that they washed their clothing, which is an allusion to them having had gone to the mikvah. And it says that they ate and drank, which according to the Zohar means that they actually did not eat and drink because they were just too nervous and were really focused on the spiritual. And then there's the atmosphere at Mount Sinai, similar to that of a wedding, right? There's thunder and there's lightning and there's the shofar and there's the fire. And the people shuddered, right? We have the lights, we have the music, we have the chuppah. It's outdoors, right? And then Moshe escorts Am Yisrael to God, and Aaron escorts them as well, just as the bride and groom are escorted by two people. And there are the bridesmaids and the ushers; those are the angels. And then there's the crowd all around. Everybody is watching, and everybody is nervous, and the mountain is over them, on top of them, like the chuppah. And it's a very exciting moment. And instead of a ring, they receive the Torah, which is endless, just like a ring. As soon as we finish reading it, we start to read again from the beginning. And then Am Yisrael say, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. We're ready to commit ourselves, just like the bride and groom commit themselves. But then, unfortunately, we find out that Bnei Israel served the golden calf, and Moshe broke the luchot. He took the tablets and he smashed them, just like the groom steps on the glass at the wedding. And it shows us that this relationship is fragile and that we have to be very careful with this relationship. And the luchot were smashed, and Moshe had to go back up to Mount Sinai once more, and for another 40 days. And this time, when he came down, there was no thunder, and there was no lightning, and there was no fire, and there was no shofar. It was a very quiet ceremony. Yet these were the luchot that lasted. These were the commandments that we had throughout time. These are the commandments that lasted. But the small pieces of the first luchot were also saved. And the reason that they were saved is that there's an idea that we don't forget the broken ones. And there was a tradition at wedding ceremonies that they would have a table set up specifically for the poor people, that the poor could also enjoy the wedding, that the broken ones could be involved as well. And some people today actually donate at the end of their ceremony, which is a great idea, to a place in New York like City Harvest or in Israel, to Leket, where the organization will come and pick up the food and make sure that the poor are involved as well. And I'll never forget when I was working in the Hebrew home for the aged in Riverdale, and a young bride called me up, and she was having a luxurious Manhattan wedding, and she said that she wants to make sure that at the end of the ceremony, the flowers are picked up and delivered to the nursing home, and that way the elderly could enjoy the flowers as well and take part in her wedding. And the next day when I went to teach, sure enough, I saw on every floor there were the flowers, the centerpieces from her wedding, and it shows that she did not forget the broken ones, and that is a very important message of the Torah. And what we see this Shabbat as we go to Shul and we hear Parshat Yitro, which is really the reenaction of the revelation at Mount Sinai, we have to really think back to what it was like to stand at Mount Sinai. And as well, when we go to a wedding ceremony, it's also sort of like standing at Mount Sinai. It's a piece of that revelation as well, and we should not take the Jewish wedding for granted. It's a very holy ceremony. But it also takes a lot of work, just as the Jewish people have to work to observe the mitzvot, so too do husband and wife have to work together to continuously commit themselves to each other. Shabbat Shalom.